First and foremost,
When respect died, the Drake and Kendrick war that shook hip-hop to its core. Look, I ain't here to waste your time with fairy tales or sugar-coated stories. What went down between Drake and Kendrick Lamar isn't just some rap beef. This is a masterclass in how competition turns into war, how respect crumbles into ashes, and how two titans can burn down everything they built just to prove a point. This is the story of how hip-hop's coldest rivalry went from competitive bars to career-ending accusations, and trust me, by the time we're done here, you'll understand why this beef will be talked about for decades. But before we dive into this madness, if you're new to Celeb Clope, hit that subscribe button right now. We don't do fluff here, just raw, unfiltered truth about hip-hop's biggest moments, and you're gonna want to be here for every single drop. Let me take you back to 2013, a time when Kendrick Lamar decided to throw a grenade into the entire rap game. Big Sean's track, Control, dropped, and Kendrick's verse did exactly what the title suggested. He took control. He called out everyone, Drake, J, Cole, Pusha T, every major name you could think of, and declared war. Not the fake kind either. Kendrick said he loved them all, but make no mistake, he was coming for blood. He wanted to murder every single one of them lyrically, and he wasn't playing around. Now, most rappers? They laughed it off. They saw it as competitive sport, the essence of hip-hop. But Drake? Word on the street is he took that personal. Real personal. And that's where the cracks started showing, because what Kendrick threw out as a challenge, Drake received as disrespect. From that moment on, the sneak disses started flying. Subtle shots in verses, double entendres in interviews, the kind of passive-aggressive warfare that builds pressure over years until something's gotta give. Kendrick didn't stop either. That same year, during the BET Hip Hop Awards cypher, he went even harder. He looked straight into the camera and said he tucked a sensitive rapper back in his pajama clothes. Now, he didn't say names, but everybody knew. Everybody felt it. Drake was being painted as soft, as emotional, as someone who couldn't handle the heat. And in hip-hop, that's a death sentence to your credibility. For years after that, things simmered. Both artists dropped classics, dominated charts, won awards. But underneath all that success, there was tension, thick, toxic tension that never really disappeared. They'd throw shots here and there, nothing too direct, just enough to keep the streets talking. It was like watching two boxers circling each other in the ring, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. And if you're vibing with this story so far, you already know what to do. Subscribe to Celeb Clope. We break down hip-hop's biggest beefs, controversies, and moments that define the culture.
Don't sleep on this content.
Fast forward to October 2023. Drake and J. Cole link up for first-person shooter, and Cole drops a line that would reignite everything. He called Drake, himself, and Kendrick the big three of modern rap. On the surface, it sounds like respect, right? Like he's acknowledging the top tier. But Kendrick? Kendrick saw it differently. To him, this wasn't about respect. It was about his peers trying to box him in, trying to dilute his greatness by making it a group effort. Kendrick doesn't share crowns. He doesn't do participation trophies. So when March 2024 rolled around and Metro Boomin and Future dropped like that, Kendrick let the world know exactly how he felt. He jumped on that track and said, clear as day, "Motherfuck the big three, nigga, it's just Big Me." No subtlety. No coded language. Just pure, unfiltered aggression. Kendrick rejected the whole concept, declared himself the sole king, and basically told Drake and Cole to step aside. The hip-hop world exploded. Social media went insane. Everyone was waiting to see how Drake would respond, because you don't let something like that slide. You just don't. And Drake, being Drake, didn't disappoint. April 2024. Push UPS drops. Drake came out swinging and he wasn't holding back. He went after Kendrick's height, called him short, mocked his record deal, clowned his collaborations with pop artists like Taylor Swift, basically tried to paint Kendrick as less than authentic. Drake wanted to make Kendrick look like a hypocrite, someone who talks about keeping it real while cashing checks from the mainstream. But Drake didn't stop there. He dropped Taylor-made Freestyle, and this is where things got weird. He used AI-generated voices of Tupac and Snoop Dogg to taunt Kendrick for taking too long to respond. Imagine that, using the voices of legends, digitally resurrected, just to mock your opponent. It was bold, it was controversial, and it showed just how deep Drake was willing to go. Make sure you're subscribed to Celeb Cloak because this story gets darker, and you don't want to miss a single detail of how this all unraveled. Kendrick didn't take long to respond, and when he did, he brought the apocalypse. Euphoria dropped, and it was venomous. Kendrick dissected Drake's entire persona, questioned his authenticity, his blackness, his place in the culture. Then came 616 in LA, where Kendrick alleged that people in Drake's own camp were feeding him information. Imagine that level of paranoia, your own circle betraying you, leaking secrets to your enemy. That's psychological warfare. But the real devastation came with Meet the Grahams. Kendrick went nuclear. He accused Drake of having a secret daughter, of being a deadbeat father, of hiding parts of his life from the world. This wasn't about bars anymore. This was personal, intimate, designed to destroy not just Drake's career but his character, his legacy, everything he built. And then, just when everyone thought it couldn't get worse, Kendrick released Not Like Us. This track was a cultural phenomenon. It became a massive hit, and in it, Kendrick accused Drake of sexual misconduct, of being a pedophile. The allegations were explosive, dangerous, the kind of accusations that can end careers, ruin lives, and change how people see you forever. Drake fired back with Family Matters, where he accused Kendrick of being a domestic abuser, of hurting the people closest to him. Both artists were now in a zone where there were no rules, no boundaries, just mutual destruction. This wasn't competition anymore. This was war. This was two men trying to obliterate each other's existence. And listen, if you're still here, if you're still soaking all this in, you need to subscribe to Celeb Cloak right now. We're the channel that gives you the real story, the full picture, no censorship, no bias. Just facts and context. What started as competitive respect in 2013 had morphed into a toxic, all-consuming feud by 2024. The beef between Drake and Kendrick wasn't just about who's the better rapper. It became about ego, pride, authenticity, and ultimately, survival. Both men wanted to be remembered as the greatest of their generation, and neither was willing to share that throne. The fallout from this beef is still being felt. Hip-hop fans are divided. Some ride with Drake, others with Kendrick. The culture itself has been forced to confront uncomfortable questions about what we value: technical skill versus commercial success, authenticity versus adaptability, the underground versus the mainstream. Here's the truth. This beef revealed that even at the highest levels, even when you've achieved everything, insecurity still exists. The need to be validated, to be seen as the best, to have your greatness acknowledged, it can drive people to extremes. Drake and Kendrick both wanted the same thing, and because they couldn't share it, they destroyed each other trying to claim it. So, what's the lesson here? Maybe it's that competition is healthy until it becomes personal. Maybe it's that respect is fragile. Or maybe it's just that in hip-hop, there can only be one king, and the fight for that crown is always bloody. But that's it for today. If this breakdown opened your eyes, if you learned something new, if you felt the weight of this story, subscribe to Celeb Cloak. We've got more stories like this, more deep dives into the moments that shaped hip-hop. Don't just watch, be part of the community that keeps it real. I'll catch you in the next one.